continue to leave our business channel.
Don't touch the cameraman.
From my tent. Get away from my tent.
Why do you get violent?
Get away from my tent.
Why do you get so... Sir, do not touch my equipment.
I'm not touching anything.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny
Bye.
that you have all those flags up there? Those are the people that commit violence in this country.
No, you're the commit violence. Leave.
No, I'm not leaving.
This is not public. This is a place of business, and you know you're not allowed to interfere.
Oh, you haven't heard what happened, have you?
Don't touch me.
You're in a public space, sir.
Goodbye.
Why do you get so violent just because someone...
You're a right-wing troll. What, did your mommy and daddy not take care of you? You need attention? You're gonna make people look like idiots on YouTube.
It's my fault. You're acting like an idiot right now?
No, you're acting like...
What business is this?
Why are these
Redwood
guys so
Farms,
angry?
Registered Florida beekeepers. You're not blocking me from reading your sign, sir. I can still see it. Would you like to explain to my audience who's going to see this and then leave a lot of bad reviews on your business why you act so violent towards women you don't agree with?
With a business. That's not illegal. And
Maybe you should call the cops.
You're not allowed to put me on your YouTube channel.
What law says that?
Private.
Did you give me the law that I'm breaking right now?
Camera. You're impeding with our...
What are you doing? Don't act like this.
These guys are so unhinged.
Don't act like this.
Get the hell away from my tent.
Just go under your tent. Go back to your safe space with your trans flags, okay?
Go back to your safe space, okay?
Yeah.
Just get the hell away from me.
Go back under the tent with your trans flags. It's funny that whenever those flags are present, there's violence that ensues. Yeah, you literally proved my point. What psychos? Oh my goodness, like legit, a complete psycho. I don't know what they're doing over there, but we're just gonna move on. Yeah, get their logo. You don't need to come out of your tent, sir.
You don't need to be in front of our tent.
It's a public space.
Bye. Bye.
Would you like to apologize to me and my audience for the way you've been acting?
Would you like to apologize for pooping in your pants in college?
What?
Look her up. Caitlin Bennett.
What?
Right-wing troll.
You like that type of stuff, don't you? You look at pictures of me that you think are me with poop all over me. You like that. Is that saved on your phone? You're freaking sick. That's why you have those flags up, though. Oh, is he still following us? Look.
Oh, boy.
No.
What do you think about what she had to say?
I could vaguely hear what she was talking about. I think that maybe the argument was slightly emotionally driven, maybe reactive. To say that your statements weren't probing the emotion out of her would be a lie, but also it is good to like probe to see, you know, what somebody's thinking.
Oh, I was just asking simple questions. If we should allow children, as long as a doctor signs off on it and their parents consent to it, go into a surgical procedure to remove healthy breasts and healthy other organs in order for them to be more like the opposite sex. And she said, yes, we should.
Okay.
Are you asking me for my opinion? Well, I'm of the opinion of no, we should not.
Okay.
Personally, I've had experience in the medical field before. I currently work with children of a vulnerable population.
Thank you.
And I think that while we should support kids in a loving environment and giving them what they need emotionally, expressing themselves, like you said, I don't think that surgery decisions like that should be made at such a young age.
It's a simple answer.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's the common sense answer.
Yeah.
And that's how everyone should feel. That is like, there is no subjective anything about that. That is just the truth. That is just the truth. About the first one?
No, your opinion about the first one.
Oh, no. So the first question she's asking about, are Republicans are violent? No, we see that if we look at both sides and we generalize, the left wing is more violent. And they actually admit to pollsters out there that they think political violence to achieve their ends, their political ends, is actually justified. Out of every single group, the people who identified as very liberal and severely liberal and leftist, they were the highest group that said that political violence is okay. Whereas the people who were on the opposite end of the spectrum, who identify as very conservative, were the lowest ones to say that political violence is acceptable. And I can name off a ton of right-wingers who have been brutally assaulted and killed by left-wingers.
Charlie Kirk.
I don't see that happening I don't see Trump supporters, MAGA, Republicans out here doing the same thing to leftists.
Exactly.
But if there's any examples, I am open to hearing about them.
What about the second question?
Okay, am I just doing a little thing? Deport all
She's
illegals.
not responding to the answer.
Yep.
What is your opinion on the, I guess, the immigrants who are about to lose their TPS or have lost their TPS, for example, who are here working? Like I don't know if it's the Hondurans who have lost their TPS and are going back and forth, and I think Salvadorans are up for question in September. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so we didn't get that answer. So guys, we have the unhinged left claiming that we're the violent ones, and yet video after video we continue to catch them doing exactly what they're accusing us of doing. Guys, thank you for joining the show yet again. Okay, it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to, we're just going to hang out today. Now, let me play this video, and then we're going to jump into the news. We're going to jump into the news. There's a great report out of Texas, all right, and it's grounds for celebration. All right, so we're going to just watch this, and then we'll jump into the chat in a bit. So keep the chat coming. We are going to get to the chat in a bit. So let's watch this debate, and then we'll get to the story.
I'm curious, what percentage, if you could tell the people of Britain, what percentage of global climate emissions is Britain responsible for?
Okay, so every country is
No, just answer, what percentage? It's a figure.
Every country
I'll tell you,
is responsible for
it's
about
2%.
1%,
It's
apart
2%.
from China and
Okay?
India, which we
Now,
do our dirty work. Grow up.
I'm trying. If we do what you want, which is spend...
Oh, hang on. Is the sound doubling up? Is it? Hang on, let me see what's going on. Just give me a second. Okay, I see what's going on. Sorry, guys. I see what's going on. I thought I took care of that. Let me see. Still happening. How about now? Okay. That's taking care of it. Sorry about that. That's the audio setup. I apologize. It's me. Okay, it's not you gardening. It's me. All right, so let's keep going.
£1.5 trillion, which is about 8 years' worth of the NHS budget.
Want to stop funding fossil fuel
net
companies.
zero. If we do that, by what percentage will we reduce global temperatures about which you're so
But your argument is silly. You
No,
are
could you answer
saying
the question? What impact will we
is
make?
not telling people what they want to hear.
You've got to tell the people of Britain, if you want to spend
and you brought this man in
1.5
just to argue with me.
if you were to spend £1.5 trillion of British taxpayers' money, what result would you achieve? I think people would like to know that.
What we need is deliberative democracy. We need participatory budgeting. We need people.
So you don't know.
We need.
You don't know what
I know
impact
what
on
we
global
need,
temperatures
and we
will
all
have.
need to take responsibility.
Just I'm curious, what
So sorry guys about the audio went sideways earlier, but we like to play these videos because it reminds us, who we're dealing with. It reminds us what we're dealing with. Because every single time you run into these weirdos and ask a question, the question is always, okay, give us the facts. And they never bring the facts. They never do. All right. Now, this mother left her child's middle school graduation in order to be a lookout to spot ICE. Now, this ties into the story that we're going to be covering in a bit.
I'm at a middle school graduation, Portland. I'm not even going to mention which one. And instead
in
of
Portland.
being inside, I am outside doing a lap around the parking lot, making sure that there are no ICE vehicles around. Because if you think about the people who are inside taking risks to see their children graduate 8th grade, and they're scared to be in there, and the people who didn't even come. So I'm doing my best to make sure that people are safe.
Yeah, the volume is low. So this is one of the women who have been, a word came to mind that is not Christian, who have been brainwashed into believing that ICE is randomly running around looking for immigrants. And the immigrants, if they are legal immigrants, they shouldn't be scared. But if they listen to TDSBC, that tells them that that Trump is deporting American citizens, they would believe it. And these individuals that we're about to watch believed all of the lies coming from mainstream media, and they decided that they were going to lay siege on an ICE facility in Texas. Well, that didn't work out so well for them because they essentially collectively, well, let me just read the text. Benjamin Song, who shot and wounded a police officer during a July 4th protest at the Prairie Land Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas, was sentenced to 100 years in prison today. Now, I know he has loved ones. I know he has people who feel bad that he's going to jail. But you don't behave like a criminal and expect us to support you. However, the Democrats support criminals. And so we are the party of people who rejoice whenever criminals go to jail. He shot and wounded a police officer. Yes, gardening, Texas knows how it's done. Texas knows how it's done. So let's listen to this report.
8 defendants convicted in the Prairie Land ICE Detention Center attack case will be sentenced today in federal court in Fort Worth. So far, only 3 have learned their fates. Benjamin Song was sentenced to 100 years in prison. Cameron Arnold and Zachary Evans were both sentenced to 50 years. It comes more than 3 months after a federal jury found the group guilty following a 12-day trial stemming from an incident last July 4th outside the detention center in Alvarado. 8 defendants were convicted of charges including rioting, providing material support to terrorists, and explosives-related offenses. Benjamin Song was also convicted of attempted murder in the shooting of an Alvarado police lieutenant. The others face possible sentences ranging from 10 years to life in prison.
Well, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So they're all being shipped off to prison right now as we speak. And you know what? They're all unrepentant because they think that they're on the right side of history. All right. Now, I'm going to get to the chat because I haven't said hello and welcome to you guys. But before we look, I'm going to pull rank and I'm going to hang on. Where's my chat? I posted something earlier. Oh, there it is. So we had a members only live stream this afternoon, and Intergalactic Wrangler wasn't able to make it. So he watched it after the fact, and then he decides to post this in the comments. I was going to watch the show, but then I got high because there was a segment of the members only live stream where we watched a special video, and Afro Man happened to his picture popped up and he decided to post this. So this was hilarious. I was like, is that why you missed the show? But I did read why he missed the show. So that was hilarious. Let's see. I want to get to the meat. Look, we love to have these conversations in the chat. And if you're new here, please jump in the chat, join the community. You can see that now if you're on the main channel, you might not see as much traffic as the live channel. So whatever you're doing, jump in the chat. Let's know your thoughts about the story that we just covered. Now I'm going to be scrolling. Gosh. All right. So gardening, I hope I'm reading this right, okay? It's sad that she's missing out on life. They are so unhappy. Leftists, I'm sorry, you're not on the right side of history. You're not. Look, I think I mentioned it today during the members only live stream, and I said one of the things that I want us to learn how to do on this show is learn how not to let the insanity that surrounds us to get to us. As long as we have people who love us, as long as we have family, as long as we have Jesus in our hearts, we're good. The world can burn. Look, this isn't the first time the world has burned. It isn't. It's been burning for millennia. But do you know what? People who simply stay close with their families and worship their God and mind their business and act with discernment always make it through. So we're going to figure out how to get through this together. We're going to learn how to point and laugh. we're going to learn how to enjoy ourselves, and albeit at the expense of people who make retarded decisions like these individuals who decided that the best way to spend their time would be to attack ICE officers. And then Gardening says, Texas knows how to do it. I think I brought that up already. And then she also says, I didn't follow if they were actually from Texas or came to Texas to cause problems. It's very likely that a few of them were from Texas, but it's also likely that a bunch of them came from outside of Texas to cause problems, because that's the modus operandi of Antifa. They're doing it in Portland, they're doing it in Chicago, but Portland and Chicago are not Texas. If you mess around in Texas, you will find out. Okay. Now, in true leftist fashion, we have the wisdom of leftist pundits. It's always amazing to listen to what they have to say. This leftist pundit, excuse me, on CNN a year ago said that 250 million people died after the bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is peak wisdom coming from the intellectuals who appear on CNN to argue their disagreements with the Trump administration.
That when you attack a nation like Iran, the quickest lesson one learns is to make sure you now have a nuclear weapon so you're never attacked again. That's the only reason why Israel got its weapon in 1966. That's why North Korea got its weapon. That's why France got its weapon. That's why the United States and Russia got their weapon. And for those of us who go all the way back to the United States to kill 250 million people in 2 days in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's not a high moral moment for the American.
So Jamil, what do you make of
Look, the solution of Democrats is let's be weak. Because when we're weak, everyone will look at us and say to themselves, oh, they're weak, so let's be weak too. You know, this is testing my self-control. Okay. People like him enjoy the fruits, the sacrifices of people who fought in the world wars, who fought in Vietnam. They enjoy the fruit of the founding fathers' design for the United States. And then they come on air and shit all over it by making stupid statements like that. Now, we're going to jump into another story, which I quite enjoyed running into. Okay, Elon Musk essentially has threatened to sue Rouhani. And you know what? I want him to sue. I do. I've been asking for months, why is it that these Democrats can say the most outlandish things and zero consequences? And Elon is rising to the challenge, and I hope he sues. I hope he sues. And then here he is essentially explaining, because Rouhani accused Elon of being responsible for the death of thousands of children because Doge cuts affected the USAID donations to outlandish projects in other countries. And Rouhani has been accusing him of essentially mass murder. So Elon is explaining here what exactly the Doge cuts did. Hang on.
And very hard to cut things that are obvious waste and fraud, like ridiculous waste and fraud. What I discovered that it's extremely difficult even to cut very obvious waste and fraud from the government, because the government has to operate on like who's complaining. Like if you cut off payments to fraudsters, they immediately come up with the most sympathetic sounding reasons to continue the payment. They don't say, please keep the fraud going. They say, they're like, you're killing baby pandas. And we're like, meanwhile, there's no baby pandas are dying. They're just making it up. The forces are capable of coming up with extremely compelling, sort of heart-wrenching stories that are false, but nonetheless sound sympathetic. And that's what happened. So it's like, perhaps I should have known better. But I thought, wait, let's try to cut some amount of waste and fraud from the government.
Now, CNBC, and I hope they're independent, but they appear to be reasonable in their assessment, had this to say about the accusations against Elon.
One of Elon Musk's responses on Twitter was, look, we found a lot of aid that was being funneled to politicians and to others, and some of them pled guilty with some of the things that went through, too. But got heated very quickly. Ro Khanna came on yesterday and said, I thought he was a defender of free speech. I should be able to say these things. Let's do it together. But Ro Khanna is also kind of vying for the White House potentially in the next election.
It's not good to indirectly, someone once said that, I killed 100,000 people because of COVID for supporting Donald Trump. So it's not good to make that leap to, do you think?
No, that you're killing people?
I mean, loose lips.
The Democrats hate it when consequences show up. And when consequences show up, they begin to act like they're the victim. Here's Ro Khanna looking scared, freaking out, and like they said, saying, hey, I thought you were a free speech person. Why don't you let me use my free speech to ruin your life? Okay, well, that's why you have the courts, and Elon has elected to allow you use your free speech to talk you into a lawsuit. Okay, so Ro Khanna is now freaking out and desperately trying to backtrack after Elon threatened to sue him for lying that Doge is responsible for millions of deaths.
To sue me, and he called on the Justice Department to put me in prison. That's right. The world's richest person has spent all day tweeting going after me. Why? Because I cited an academic study that his Doge cuts may lead to the deaths of millions of children overseas.
No, you didn't cite an academic study. You made a statement of fact. You didn't say this study says you did this. You said Doge killed millions of people.
Elon, I thought you were a free speech guy. Why not debate me on these issues instead of threatening lawfare? You're not going to be able to intimidate me.
I thought the Democrats were all about lawfare. I thought they loved the rule of law. And now that the law is playing out, they don't like it. They don't like it. They want you to roll over and just take whatever nonsense they stuff down your throat. And if you try to push back or fight back, oh, you're violent. Oh, I thought you were all about free speech. Oh. They don't like when consequences show up.
I'm the guy who stood up to the Epstein class and worked with Massey to get the Epstein files released. I'm the guy who stood up against AIPAC and called out a genocide. And I'm the guy who stood up to billionaires in my district who ran someone against me and still called for a wealth tax.
You're the guy who stood up with Massey when it was convenient to pin the release of the Epstein files on President Trump. President Trump never ran on releasing the Epstein files. He never did. It was people around him, people who supported him, who spoke about the Epstein files because it was a thing. Okay, there were reports coming out, and it's like, if this is really happening, it's horrible, and there should be an investigation. And what was the Democrat Party's response? Nothing. They had 4 years with Joe Biden. They had the House, they had the Senate. They did nothing. And now suddenly you guys magically trot out and begin to scream at Trump. Oh, you have to release the Epstein files. Where were you jokers all through the 4 years that Biden was in office and you guys had the House and Senate? And that traitor, Massey, joining you guys to make a stink over something that they could have done under Joe Biden. Why didn't they do it while Joe Biden was in office? So whenever I hear him mewling about, I pushed back on the Epstein class, I'm like, look, we can see through your lies, and it doesn't make any sense. So shut up. Right now, this guy is also one of those who have been trying to say that, well, Elon doesn't deserve the right to be a trillionaire, that they should essentially take Elon's money and use it to solve problems. Now, I like this video, which essentially breaks down all of the things that they claim they could do with Elon's money, and there's some pushback, and I hope there's no music on this. I hope there isn't. Let's see if we make it through without any copyright notices.
We should take Elon Musk's $1 trillion and use it to solve world hunger.
Except Africa's been given $2.6 trillion in foreign aid since 1960.
How about we use it to fix the education system?
Except the US already spends $1.3 trillion a year on it.
Let's end poverty then.
Except America's already spent over $22 trillion fighting poverty.
We should just tax him more.
Except, if you had a bet on who could solve a major world problem, would you pick the government or Elon?
Yeah, probably the guy landing rockets backwards.
Exactly.
So I like that video, and I felt that I should share it with you guys. All right, now, this student decided that they were going to rip a man's Trump flag, and then when consequences showed up, they did what leftists always do.
Are you gonna post this on Facebook, you weird?
Come on!
I'll have to say whatever the I want.
Come on! He told you to stop!
Oh, what's going on? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to be a leftist and blame someone else for this. I'm just going to do what we always do and wait for it to get fixed somehow. Right? This is weird. And I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Okay, so what's going on with the? Oh, let me cancel this.
It's right there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about
Are
that.
you gonna post this on Facebook, you weird?
Come on!
I'll have to say whatever the I want.
Come on! He told you to stop.
Hold up.
It's right there.
Girl
And
gets
what?
charged for
All right,
ripping
so
flag.
what just occurred?
He's making me mad.
How?
Okay, did you damage his sign?
Do I have it on video.
No, did
I can see that you guys have it on video.
All right, do you have an ID on you?
Yes.
All right, obviously.
So what's gonna happen? With all respect.
So here's the damage.
So are we pressing?
Yes, yes. Destruction of private property. Yep. And the judge will give her community service, and yeah, you'll get community service, and you'll be ordered to pay restitution for the flag.
Yes, consequences.
That's all.
Thank you.
That's all it'll be. It's a misdemeanor, and it'll be dropped from your record. Well, it'll be dropped after you do your community service.
I have no warnings and no offenses on my record.
And you can tell the judge.
His property, if he wants to press charges for you damaging his property, I can't give you a warning for that. He's pressing charges on it. I mentioned my property.
You know, it's very clear that she's never experienced consequences for crashing out in public. She's never experienced consequences. And for so many years, these guys have been allowed to run rampant across society and do and say whatever they like. Okay? And then when the consequences that should show up, they start acting like they are the victim.
After good behavior, 6 months in community service, the judge will drop it.
I am a full-time student. I'm coming back here in the summertime.
Nope. Next time you'll think not to do it.
Oh, look, I love this.
Dude, like you can't find any like peace in your heart and understanding. For
I will tell the judge. I will tell the judge, and he'll drop the charges after 6 months, and you do community service.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Oh, no. What was insane is how you guys have been behaving.
What was insane is what you did for no reason.
What's insane is that your friend is in a bunny suit and you're outside of a liberal arts school inciting you.
I'm on a public street and a public sidewalk on a public street.
I don't understand this.
No, man. What we want is
because they had the governor was here today to do a ribbon cutting.
That's why we're out here, because we have it. We're not letting it take away.
It's called a mental illness, okay? They see Trump and their hands begin to shake.
This is probably the third or fourth flag that's been damaged. And my experience is the judge will make you pay restitution.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to do community service. And then if you do not have any more incidents in the next 6 months to 1 year, he'll drop the charges. So don't worry about it. It's not the end of your life.
Guys.
It really does cause a damper in my studies and my future, though.
Yes.
No.
You didn't know that.
What I wanted to do.
Don't you think it kind of gets in the way of like me growing and becoming as an individual? Like I still have yet to learn. Maybe one day.
If anything, this educates you.
It's a teachable moment.
What is a teachable moment?
This right here.
What about your president that's literally getting indicted right now? What about that?
Oh, for what? The false charges? I'll tell you something. I live in Delaware.
I don't want to listen to you.
Oh, yes, you do. I'm going to talk anyway. I dealt with Joe Biden for the past 30 years. The only good Biden's the one that's 6 feet under the ground right now.
Guys, she's literally covering her ears. Literally. Look, these people will never learn. Because even when we try to talk to them and help them understand, I don't want to use the word educate. All right, I don't want to use the word educate. Just to help them understand, or at least to say to them, hey, dip your toe in the water, and if you decide you want to explore more, go ahead and do so. Tony says, make asylums great again. But you know what's even better than that? Make jails great again. Because people like this who crash out in public, who damage someone else's property, like there are videos of these people breaking into vehicles owned by conservative influencers and ruining the vehicles, ripping up the leather seats and pouring chemicals all over the vehicles, pouring accelerants, gasoline on influencers and taking off and running away. When there's no consequences, they continue to do that until we wind up with a Charlie Kirk. And they're still celebrating that as a win, mind you.
And not because he's dead, because that was the good one.
Because he's a true person. He's a true human and a true patriot. What's going on right now is disgusting. And if you knew Joe Biden personally like I do, you would say the same thing. But you don't, because you're brainwashed and you don't know what's going on.
I love this. Yep.
Come on. You, Miss.
Come on.
Oh, you want to stay with over here with them?
No. Stay with me real quick.
No. She's unrepentant. She
you don't
isn't
offer
going
like
to
second
change.
chances,
And you know what?
redemption.
I don't think she's learned
It's
her
too late
lesson.
now. I mean, seriously.
It's not too late.
No, it is.
It's
no,
not too late.
It's too late.
It's actually not too late.
You had a chance not to do what you did. You had a second chance and a third, but you went ahead and did it anyway.
What would be a good day for everyone to come to?
This is so nice.
I'm open. Richmond City Court, John Marshall Building. She can pick. I'm open.
I literally have the most complicated summer.
Talk to him, not me.
You're the one I'm going to court with, not him.
You're picking the court date.
I'm coming to. I'll be at court as well, right? So I'll go report on all this. I'll come to court as well. What is convenient for everybody else? Wednesdays are good.
Like this, okay, guys. Let me know
It'll probably be in the next.
Let me know in the chat if you want me to find more videos like this. Like I like the fact that we opened up the show with consequences. Those those criminals who shot and look, when these things were happening last year, I was like, what on earth is going on? Why isn't the Trump administration laying down the law? I was like, what's going on? They fired and killed the immigrants at the other ICE facility in Texas as well. Okay, well, it turned out that the person who did the shooting wound up getting killed as well. But like all of this stuff was ramping up, and then Charlie Kirk happens. And then we had Portland. Look, I think that this is satisfying in the sense that if law and order is being carried out. Now, this happened years ago, and I think it even happened before Trump got into office. So I think I am kind of enjoying something that happened long before Trump got into office, as if, you know, it happened after he got in office. But I like seeing consequences. So let me know in the chat if you want us to find more of these kinds of videos.
Next, 2 weeks?
I'm still in finals, so.
You're in finals.
From Southern City Restaurant and General District Criminal Court which is at 400 North 9th Street on May 10th, let's say at 9 o'clock in the morning, for violation of State Code 18.2-137, destructive of personal property. Your signature here is not admission of guilt. This is a promise to be on court on that day.
What if I can't make court on that day?
You have to call this number, which is get you to the court and advise them that you're not going to be there.
And make sure you call ahead of time. Don't not show up, because then they'll put a warrant.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay. They'll put a warrant out, so make sure you show up.
That's not happened to me one time, because they didn't give me the notice in the mail properly. Oh, terrible.
Oh, these guys
should have
are just
asked it
enjoying
right in front of the sign. That was my bad.
You should have what?
I should have asked it right in front of the sign, not on the sign. That was my bad.
Yep. We're even talking about ashing on the sidewalk before, weren't you?
Yeah. That was also littering, too. He didn't write you up for littering.
Here's my card. It's got my information on it. It's got the report number on the bottom. If you have questions.
Oh, well, this was a good video, even though we didn't catch the ripping of the flag. Now, our favorite mayor, Brandon Johnson, is in the news again. Yep, he's in the news again. And let's see. This last Father's Day weekend, we had 40 people shot in Chicago. And Mayor Johnson's response to 40 people being shot in his city is slavery.
I want to turn to another important part of this work. 2 years ago, I signed an executive order establishing a task force to shine a light on the harm that slavery and racist policies have caused and continue to cause, and particularly the harm that they cause to Black Chicagoans, while more importantly identifying pathways towards repair, opportunity, and investment.
So I want to call him a name, and I'm like, no. All of this is intentional. Okay, he's not stupid. He's not stupid. They know what they're doing. We're going to watch a Tom Sowell video to cap this up, because it will explain stuff like this. Democrats don't want to solve problems. They want the problems to persist because it gives them something to claim that they're trying to fix. For example, this guy who has been repeatedly released from prison due to Democrats' soft on crime policies, okay? When the report initially came out, because he was responsible for murdering a woman, he set her on fire. He was thought to have been arrested 49 times. And it was like, how could he have been released 49 times? Hey, it turned out it was 72.
Prosecutors say he lit a woman on fire aboard a train. Meanwhile, there are growing questions about why he was back out on the streets despite a rap sheet reportedly going back to the early 90s. Mike Tobin is live in the Windy City with more. Hi, Mike.
And Dana Lawrence Reed will be once again before the judge today, this time to determine if he will be held behind bars before he goes to trial. And that really is the backbone of this case. On Monday, he was out walking the streets despite a pending case for allegedly knocking a woman out, able to ride the L train where a woman was set on fire. Now, we have a statement from her family through Cook County Health. It's a pretty simple statement. They say, "We'd like to thank everyone for their prayers and well wishes as our daughter receives care for her."
Now, this guy, Brandon Johnson, wants us to believe that the reason why he's acting like an animal, setting people on fire, knocking people out, committing crimes, getting arrested, and instead of turning his life around, getting released, and him going back to committing these crimes, as far as Mayor Johnson is concerned, is because of slavery. That this guy is acting like an absolute demon. Now, this reporter confronts Mayor Johnson because Mayor Johnson talks and acts like a retard. He does. And many people will, like, "Oh, I thought you were a Christian." Hey, does he act like a retard? Does he talk like a retard? He's meant to be the leader of a city. Why can't he get it in his head that crime has to be dealt with the right way? Last year, he claimed that prisons are racist. That's what this guy said. He said prisons are racist. Okay? Let's see. All right, so just keep the chats coming. I'm going to read the chats. I saw a first-time chatter. Okay, I'm going to read the chat and we're going to recognize you in the chat. Okay, so please hang around. So here's a raw video of an exchange between Brandon Johnson and a reporter. And this keeps happening where reporters confront him about real issues and his answers are just so cringe. It's like this guy might have brain damage. But I don't think he has brain damage. I think it's intentional. It's a policy position. They need Chicago to be a shithole. They need Chicago to be a shithole so that they can always have something to run on. And guess what? If something happens today, it's because of slavery.
This very seat, and I warned you that Juneteenth is historically one of the most violent days for whatever reason in the city of Chicago. You dismissed that. I asked you if Donald Trump, the President of the United States, if you would reach out to him for some kind of help or assistance. Again, you dismissed that. You said that you're the mayor, right? You said that Donald Trump was a massive failure or something to that effect. And now we have seen the results. 40 plus people shot, a dozen plus people murdered in the city of Chicago on Juneteenth, the weekend with the Obama Library and all the other wonderful things happening. And the people of Chicago, the real people, are asking me if you are aware, if you're even paying attention, if you're the massive failure, perhaps you're the massive failure in this equation, and not the president, who, by the way, has reached out. The president of the United States has reached out again.
Well, thank you for your question.
Donald Trump has said he's willing to help. Will you, at long last, accept his support?
I appreciate you.
Well, if you could let me ask the question, I'd do more than.
You said that real people
will you accept his help now?
Well, you asked two questions.
No.
Your first question was, just want to make sure that I'm repeating what you said.
Okay.
Your first question was centered around, and it's a very lousy attempt of what you're trying to conflate, but your first question was essentially around who takes responsibility, right? And then your second question is the help that's needed from the federal government. So I'll answer both of them. And so, look, it's very clear that as it relates to community safety, that the President of the United States of America has done nothing to help secure safe communities across this country. He's done nothing to do that. In fact, if you look specifically at his so-called black agenda, he has not delivered on one promise. You can't say that you believe in creating safe communities and then literally undermine all of the efforts that create safer communities. That's why he's a failure. It's not just he's just a failure. He is he's a doty individual, right? And so because of that, to answer your first question, The responsibility, of course,
oh my goodness,
is on all of us. Here's a responsibility that I continue to take. Driving a community safety plan that removes guns from the streets of Chicago.
Do you know what? I think he and Jasmine Crockett are tied for first place. For like when you listen to them, you can literally feel brain cells ending themselves. Like I'm trying to listen and I'm like, what is he saying? What did he just say? That President Trump is responsible for policing your community? You're the mayor, you're the chief law enforcement officer of your city, and you're blaming Trump. In the last video, you blamed slavery.
Driving a community safety plan that actually invests in the communities that this president refuses to invest in. Driving a community safety plan that ensures that our local police department has the tools that they need to ultimately hold people accountable is why we have seen positive trends. Now, of course, there's more work to be done. That work is not going to be accomplished through social media. The failure of this administration is that he is more interested in tweeting or posting evil and inhumane projections of people and our humanity than he is actually willing to put money into the very communities that he ostensibly offers some degree of care for. But the fact of the matter is this: there's no administration in this city.
This guy rejected President Trump's offer to send in the National Guard to help reduce crime in his city. Washington, D.C. was a template. Until now, crime has dropped in Washington, D.C. It's over a year since the National Guard was deployed to Washington, D.C., and it has been transformed. He and Governor Pritzker made the media rounds, calling President Trump an authoritarian. They called him a dictator. They said that him sending the National Guard was a backdoor way of taking over the state or the city. They accused him of everything but being the Antichrist. Oh, they actually did accuse him of being the Antichrist. And then he's coming up here today to blame President Trump for not providing enough security to protect the 40 people who got murdered over the weekend, even though a full year plus before Trump had offered to send in the National Guard. I'm trying not to shout. I'm trying not to shout so I can articulate, my amazement at this insanity. This is insanity. Okay? This is insanity.
That has contributed more to keeping people safe. Is there more work to be done? Absolutely. Has this president...
The reporter just can't, I guess he just can't contain himself. It's like, what am I hearing? I hope they give him the opportunity to respond.
Undermined our work? He most certainly has. Again, this is an individual that is more interested in removing voting rights protections. He's more interested in calling for investigations or reducing the ability to investigate civil rights violations, right? It's not just simply about his abject failure. It's about his overwhelming interest in coordinating the upward transfer of wealth into the hands of the ultra-rich at the expense of everyday people. That's what he has failed to do. Because, that's what he has done. His failure, of course, is in defunding the very efforts that ultimately can keep people safe.
My follow-up question, my second question is simply this.
You've already
you
asked
campaigned
two
on defunding. My
asked
second
two
question
questions.
is,
Nope.
you campaigned on defunding the police.
Yes.
You've called the police a sickness. You say that incarcerating violent repeat
Good
offenders
job,
is some
guys.
kind of
You
racism.
can talk as long as you want. You've asked your two questions
No,
already.
I asked
I've
one
answered
question
both of
that
them.
you interrupted.
No, you've asked two
Look,
questions.
I also have civil rights. I have freedom of speech. I have freedom of
Well,
the
you can
press.
just free yourself on out of here because
Well,
I'm not answering anything else.
Well,
from
the
you.
second
You've
question
already
is simply
asked
this.
two questions.
You have a
and your
security
time is done.
detail of
So go ahead.
150. The United States, the city of Chicago is down 2,000 police officers under your administration, and yet you have 150 some police officers on your security detail. If Chicago's so safe, why not release some of those police officers back onto the streets where they can help real Chicagoans?
You're done. Thank you.
Trump. His response is, guys. What do you guys think? Okay, let me see. I want to get to the chat. Okay, first off, I'm going to be nice. All right, Mike will win. Yeah, is Mike will win still around? First time chatter. He says, MAGA again, 47 and funny. Trump said, I think the book is Winners Aren't Losers. Children's bookseller here. Well, that's a whole lot to say, but I hope you're still here. Let's know in the chat if you're still around. I hope you're watching. Look, every day there's always a lot to get through. So I'm going to honor the chat. Okay, because the show is really all about you. The show is all about you. Let's see. Gardening says, gotta love FAFO. F around and find out. These people need to be charged for the destruction they cause. I totally agree. We need to have more consequences. And look, I'm here for it. And you know what? There are going to be these people who are going to come around and say, well, I thought you said you were a Christian. Oh, yeah, I thought you were a Christian. Look, the Bible says that the king or the ruler doesn't bear the sword in vain, but that wicked men should fear. And whenever a ruler of a city, like a mayor or a governor or a president, is wielding his authority to enforce the law, I'm happy. The Bible says in Proverbs, when the righteous are in authority, the city rejoices. So we rejoice whenever we see consequences, because it says to you and me, these people aren't going to eventually get bold enough to roll up to your house, tear up the place, hurt your loved ones, because they feel like they're entitled now and they're empowered enough to do it. So yes, we're going to celebrate it. All right? Excuse me. Oh. Tony says, stupid. I'm not going to repeat the last one, okay? All right. Let's see. Intergalactic Wrangler says, hi, Tony. She got her comeuppance. Okay, so I'm trigger happy with the celebration, okay? I'm trigger happy with the celebration because I love seeing consequences, and there's lots of consequences being doled out. We're going to be catching some more in a bit, all right? I'm sorry. I'm trying to read everything. And then Tony says, thanks, man, for body cams. Ladies, look out. You have no cover now. Look, after the Black Lives Matter protests during the pandemic, they demanded body cams. And you know what? Now we have body cam channels. And during the members only live stream, we talked about including shows like possibly body cam videos during the main events, or, so we're going to be bringing in some of those stories as well. So if you like the idea of watching some consequences being fed to criminals, let me know in the chat. All right. Gardening says he's still being nice to her anyway. Yeah, because conservatives are nice. Like we're nice people even when we're doling out consequences. I'm being nice. I'm celebrating the fact that a criminal, an unhinged person is facing consequences, because when they face consequences, it makes everyone else safer. So I am being a loving, considerate person when I celebrate. All right. This is gardening, I think. Gardening says this is definitely a teaching moment for her. I agree. Tony says make asylums great again. That's a t-shirt idea. I think we have a t-shirt idea. Someone must have made that already because we've been talking about that for a while. Intergalactic Wrangler says teachable moment for sure, Lamau. And then Gardening says, look, I like reading all the chats, guys. I like reading your chats because you guys are part of the commentary. All right, you guys are part of the commentary. Gardening says one problem is they have seen so many get away with so much, and now it is starting to change. I agree. Gardening says thousands of people have been shot during his term, and he just continues with the racism. So over it. I don't know how he's still a mayor, but you know what? With blue cities and states, they've perfected the art of cheating. Look at what's going on in California. All right, they're still counting. They're still counting the ballots for the mayoral race. Like California is done. Unless there's something super drastic that happens, it's done. Okay? Totally done. Let's see. Gardening on this video says, you gotta love this journalist. They always get tired of how he asks his questions, usually going a minute or two. It's because when you ask these very short questions and you give the politicians an out, you give them an out because if the question is too basic or simple, they assume that they can give you a one-word answer and move along. So he needs to let him know exactly what he's asking. Gardening says, I have seen so many Black Americans who have thanked Trump because they can now go outside, their children can play, etc. That's true. And there are tons of those videos, and I've watched them, I've seen them. And the question is, don't leftists see these videos? But I think they are trapped in their algorithm, in their bubble. All they see is Trump bad, Trump the Antichrist, Trump, like you're literally going to hear one of the stupidest takes in a bit. I think, let's see. Jeez. Do you guys have more time? Do you guys have time for more? Because it's already 3 minutes to the hour. All right. If you want me to continue, okay, you guys have to say you want me to continue, right? Because you go through all of these videos and you ask yourself the question, don't these leftists see this? Again, they are captured in a bubble. All right. Yeah, they are captured in a bubble. I was trying to make sure that I had caught up with the chat. They're captured in a bubble, and because they're in a bubble, they can't see outside the bubble. I think it was during the members only live stream. I talked about how I was on a call with someone in the States, a family member in the States, and in the background I could literally hear TDSBC. And they listen to TDSBC and I'm like, there's no how you can sit and listen to TDSBC or CNN all day long and you will not catch the mind virus. All right. I have family who hates Trump. I have a brother whose Facebook page, he doesn't post about anything. Like all he posts about is Trump, this, Trump, that, Trump. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with it. Like whenever he posts, I don't bother looking because I know it's another Trump hate post. Okay. Like people have been, their minds have been taken over by the mind virus and they don't realize that it's happened to them. All right. Now, I see that the chat is silent. Okay. And we talked about this during the live stream because the live stream runs quite late into the evening. And so what I'm going to do is this. All right. I'm going to step back and I'm going to say, okay, I think I fed you guys with enough joy. I'm sorry. I'm being facetious. Okay. Maybe I skip forward and I play the Tom Sowell video. I'll play the Tom Sowell video that I promised. And then we'll get the rest of these stories tomorrow. And you know what? I hope that by tomorrow there's some sanity, like there's more sanity in the world, and we will see more arrests, more jails, more, like, we're going to play the video tomorrow, essentially, that I haven't played tonight with respect to the consequences coming to the fraudsters in California. That's part of the stories that I wanted to cover today. But let's watch Tom Sowell. Okay, let's watch Tom Sowell. You and I know, well, you know how much I enjoy Tom Sowell. So let's have a listen, and you guys let me know what you think of what he says.
How do the anointed refer to people they don't agree with?
All sorts of ways, but I think the main thing is they believe that you're not merely in error but in sin. In other words, they can't believe that you're just mistaken. You must have sold out. You must be something warped about you.
Do people think you sold out because you're conservative?
Oh, some do. Some do. I'm always fascinated with that phrase. First time I heard it was at Cornell University, and I attacked the president of Cornell University on the front page of the New York Times. I wondered, now, if I'm selling out, who am I selling out to if I'm attacking the president of Cornell University? What brownie points will I get for that as an assistant professor on a 3-year contract?
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
No. And the other thing that always gets me is that the people who are supposed to have sold out typically have less money than the ones who are making the accusation. Years ago,
that's always true.
I remember some student wrote to me, and I said, what you need to do is make a list of all the blacks on your campus that you think have sold out. And then make a list of those you think you have stood up for the right thing, you see. And then alongside each name, put down the name and model of car that they drive. And then see if you want to reconsider what you've just said.
Okay, Hannah Jinks. Thank you for the chat. He said it's pronounced soul. Okay, thank you. And he was the best president America never had. Look, Tom Sowell, thank you for correcting me. Tom Sowell, when I discovered him in 2021, I was offended that social media and the powers that be kept me from his wisdom for years. They would rather feed me pornographic content than feed me his wisdom. You know, I was in a running fight with Facebook for years, not like directly, but you know how they feed these things into your thread on Facebook, you know, scantily clad women, and then it leads to a website of ill repute. So I began to train my Facebook profile not to show me those things, and it kept coming. They would rather push those to you than Tom Sowell's content. All right, these platforms are just flat out evil. So thank you, Hannah Jinks, for that chat and for correcting me. Yeah, so soul. You know, I was raised by someone who was raised by the British. So I pronounce my vowels. I pronounce my vowels. All of them have to be present and accounted for. Okay. Hannah Jinks says, well said. And yes, all mainstream media is completely leftist. I grew up assuming that, you know, like when you grow up in a third world country, and the only window into the first world, like the United States or Britain, is the camera lens, and the stories that are written. You assume that the people who are handling the cameras and the people who are who are writing the scripts are people with an honest, unbiased take of the world. You think that they have the same moral position as you do. If you're a moral person who believes in fairness and telling the truth, you think that the person who is handling the camera and writing the scripts has the same moral framework. Until I grew up and I was in my late 30s. And then this guy called President Donald, okay, no, he wasn't president yet. He was Donald J. Trump, was running for office. And I had grown up knowing that President Trump, or Donald Trump at the time, was a well-respected businessman. Rap artists would include him in their songs. He was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. My mom had taken a trip to the United States, to Texas, by the way. She visited my uncle in Houston. And when she came back to Nigeria, that was way back in 1986, guys. 1986. I was 9 years old, 1986. I was 8 at the time because I hadn't turned 9 yet. So 8 years old, she gets back from her trip and comes back with a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I pieced it together, and it was a puzzle of a grocery store, and the sign on the store was Trump Store. And there was a guy in overalls. Of course, it was Donald Trump, younger Donald Trump. I grew up knowing that name. I grew up hearing about The Apprentice, everything. Everyone loved him. And then he comes down the golden escalator, and everybody suddenly calls him a racist. And I realized that the people holding the cameras and the people writing the scripts are all leftists, and they're all liars. I wasted over 30 years of my life not knowing the truth, but they went too far, and I had my eyes wide open. So it's crazy to watch. It's crazy to watch the world. I feel cheated, but then again, it's better I found out than never finding out at all. And there are many people out there who will never find out. So, Hannah Jinks, I hope you stick around. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon. We go live every day at 9 p.m. Eastern, even though right now we're having a conversation within the membership community right now about the best option for timing. We're considering switching the time and making it earlier because a bunch of us live on the East Coast. I live on the tip of the East Coast, and a bunch of us have to go to work. So we're talking about making some adjustments to the timing, but for now it's 9 p.m. Eastern, and I hope you show up for that. Hannah Jinks says again, we're all completely brainwashed into lies, and yet the establishment points the finger at places like North Korea. Do you know what? Look, I totally agree with you, and that's why, when most of the videos that I present, if you count the footage that I present, a large portion of it comes from independent creators. And I don't even want to say that the independent creators are free of bias or free of manipulation, but we have to look at the board and tell ourselves the truth. Tell ourselves the truth of what is actually happening. Okay, sometimes the lies are really obvious, sometimes they're not. And not everyone would like what I'm about to say, but even on the right, there's lies being told. And we have to push to say, okay, is this true? Should we be doing this? Are we supposed to be doing this? But at the same time, Hannah, I hope you don't mind me saying Hannah, just to shorten, the name. At the same time, just like I said earlier in the video, if you heard me say this earlier in the video, just let me know. Earlier in the video, in the live stream, I said The one thing that we need to pay attention to, yes, we look at the world. Yes, we see that there are lies. Yes, we see that the world is on fire. Yes, we see that there are things happening that are unconscionable and shouldn't be happening. Earlier or late last week, was it late last week? Late last week we talked about, was it late last week? It's that the video on the 250,000 women or girls who had been assaulted in England was released. The report was released. We talked about it, and it's like all of these horrible things are happening all over the world. We're seeing mass migration destroying Western civilization. We're seeing all these things happening. We're seeing unhinged politicians like Brandon Johnson telling us to our faces that slavery is the reason why a random black guy who was never a slave steps out and murders people, and so he should not be incarcerated because slavery made him the way he is, so he should be given a pass. And what do you do with that? So yes, you look at it, you recognize it for what it is, blatant lies told by evil people, but you hold your family close, you hold your loved ones close, you mind your business. You mind your business. You have a job, you go to your job, you do your job, you learn how to invest, grow your investments. You do everything that you're supposed to do. And then you get out there and you vote like your life depends on it. Because we live in a democracy. We live in a democracy. Hannah says, Rupert Lowe's grooming gangs report about those 250,000 girls, shocking story. A few creators that I follow have taken the time to read the entire 219-page report. And for one, it took 7 hours. For another, it took 8 hours. And I haven't done it. I went to Grok and I said, give me the highlights. And it was just horrific. And today I heard more of what was in the report. It is completely horrific. It is a horror show. And there are people on the left who are laughing at the report, claiming that it is yet more right-wing conspiracy theory. One of the people who was part of putting the report together was a woman who herself had been assaulted by the grooming gangs, and they only stopped assaulting her when she got pregnant. So she currently has a child that was a result of the activities of that grooming gang. She was part of it. There are horror stories in all of that. And when we look at it, the question is, what do we do? Like, what do we do? Well, the most important thing is what you can do. And that is love your family, love your kids, raise them right. If you're a Christian, and I guess I'm talking to Christians mainly, read the Bible with your kids every day. Don't be fancy. Start from Genesis chapter 1. Just read a chapter every day with your kids. All right? You put the word of God in them, it will keep them safe. Hannah says, I'm a Protestant. Yeah. Read the Bible with them every day. Keep it simple. New Living Translation, not the King James, New Living Translation. Read the Bible every day with your kids. All right? And that word will get into their souls. It will. It will follow them everywhere they go, the places where you can't go, the classrooms where those teachers are trying to get your kids to become sexually deviant. Those teachers are trying to get them to believe in things that are essentially insanity. The word will go with them into those spaces. So I don't know who's supposed to hear that, but it's something that that helped me, because I was terrified about what my kids having to face things that I never faced. They get to face them. How do I prepare my kids to face a world I was never a part of? And so that's what I discovered that I should do, and I'm just passing it forward. So in case there's someone out there who's wondering, okay, do that, and then vote like your life depends on it. Mind your business, raise your family, hold your loved ones close, tell the truth. All right. And if you're feeling generous, join us every day, Sunday to Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern until we adjust the time to make it earlier. And let's be part of a community that looks at the darkness and laughs while we eat our popcorn. So that is what we're trying to do here. So I hope you stick around, Hannah. It's my pleasure to make your acquaintance, everyone. So let me go around the horn, okay? We have Gardening, who's our moderator, our resident moderator. Thank you, Gardening. Thank you for the work you do. She literally holds down 2 channels. She's chatting on 2 channels right now because we're dual streaming on both the main channel and on the backup channel. And then we have Intergalactic Wrangler, who told us that he missed the members only live stream because he got high. Okay, but actually he was busy helping his dad. So thank you, Intergalactic Wrangler. He lives, I think, on the East Coast, so he has to go to work, so he must be asleep by now. And then there's Tony. Our resident Australian. He was in the chat earlier. He lives in Australia. He is 13 hours ahead of me right now, and however number of hours ahead of you. So he's in the chat and he's watching from Australia and chatting from Australia. And then we have now, for those of you who I didn't call out, you are the lurkers, okay? You're the lurkers who show up every day, but you just want to, mind your business. You don't want to put your face or your user ID out there. So I'm going to be saying to you, hi. To all the lurkers out there who show up every day, watching, supporting the channel with your eyeballs, I say thank you. Thank you so much. It helps out a lot when you all show up and watch the content that we put together. We rarely ever complete all the stories that I put together for each live stream for several reasons. One, this is an interactive show. It's a show where the stories are told, but the audience is a big part of the character of how we interpret the stories that we're looking at. I am not an expert. I am not an expert. So I depend on the wisdom of the community to look at a story and then bring pieces together. For example, today I learned, now I've heard it, but seeing it on screen taught me how to pronounce Tom Soul's surname. So thank you, Hannah, for teaching me something new. All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. So the wisdom of the crowd is what we try to leverage here. And as long as we can do that, as long as we can have the live stream organized in such a way where we look at stories and then we have a conversation in the chat around what the stories mean, it makes sense. And I think we had a great experience. I think we had a good live stream tonight. Guys, if I were to open the list of other videos that we haven't touched, you will be shocked. But that also means that we would be able to do more eventually when we eventually begin to do our streams earlier, because if we have so many stories to walk through, maybe we can eventually begin to stream for longer to cover these stories and to have a conversation. I could easily simply play through the entire list of stories and then just give my commentary and move on, okay? But I don't want to do that because when I was thinking about the show, and I always interrupt myself when I see a comment in the chat. I'm going to talk about this in a bit. Hannah says, sounds interesting to me. It's great to make your acquaintance. Look, the honor is mine. The honor is mine. Thank you so much for hanging out and for chatting. I love it when we get first-time chatters, and then it's like, wow, this is a great place to be. And I love the fact that you like what we're doing here. Now, when I sat down to ask myself, what do I want this show to be like? I follow other content creators. I see how they create content. I aspire to be like some of my favorite shows, but the one thing that makes it that makes this meaningful to me is the audience engagement. It is the ability to sit and to have a back and forth over these stories and say, look at what's going on. What do you think? And then we have conversations. And you guys give me a lot of grace because you know what? I hate liars. I hate it when things aren't done properly, okay? And sometimes I crash out, I scream, I raise my voice. But like today, I tried to be civilized. I tried to allow the British training inside of me to come forth and just, speak calmly and not be too loud. But sometimes I will lose it and I will scream. And you know what? You guys have been kind and gracious and I appreciate it. But let's hang out and make the stories together. So I thought to myself, the thing that will make this worthwhile for me is not having a show where I talk at you guys and then maybe look at the live chat. And I follow shows where they don't read the chat unless there's a super chat. Now, I'm going to make a promise to you guys. All right, I'm making a public promise. Oh, Mike will win. I forgot to say hi. Mike will win first-time chatter as well. And I think they're chatting on the other channel. I think that's on is it the main channel or the backup channel? So we're spread out all over. So Mike will win as well. Was in the chat. Now, what was I about to say again? All right, so I want to make a promise to you guys. He was on the main channel. Awesome. I want to make a promise to you guys. I'm going to do my best to get to the chat without needing to do super chats for as long as it's humanly possible. I'm not going to make a promise I can't keep, because when the channel blows up and we have 1,000 people in the chat chatting and getting at it, it will be literally impossible for me to, first of all, sort through the chat in real time, respond, and cover everything. So I'm making a promise that I will do my best for as long as it's possible to not require a super chat to read the chats. And I will do my best to continue to engage. And speaking of engagement, we have a Discord server. And the Discord server is to foster the spirit of community that we're trying to build. It's a safe platform that doesn't reveal your personal details or information, phone numbers or whatnot. It is just a means for us to stay connected. YouTube isn't always going to be a free speech platform. It isn't a free speech platform. I don't think any platform is truly a free speech platform, but we do need a space where, if for some reason YouTube goes away, I still have a way to connect to you. So if you would like to take the extra step, please consider using the link in the description of this live stream to go to the Discord server and to join our server. We are going to be working on ways to make the Discord more exciting. We're working on it currently. Most of the production and back end work is on my shoulders, so things will run slow. On the other hand, I do have Gardening and Intergalactic Wrangler and a few other moderators, Chrissy and so on, Patricia. We have a bunch of these moderators who help with the chat and help engage those of you who watch. This is a long goodbye that I'm saying right now because the show is over. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has made this show work. To the audience, all of you who are showing up, and you guys make my day. I spend the entire day prepping for the show. I'm sourcing for stories. I'm planning. I literally built a software that helps me to organize the stories and keeps a database of all the stories that I've covered. So I've been working on that software, and I currently am using the software right now because it matters to me that I bring the best to you. And you know what? It's not going to be great for me to do all that work and you guys don't show up. So thank you for showing up. Thank you to the moderators, to Gardening for holding down 2 channels in real time. Thank you all for the engagement. Hannah, for a first time chatter, you rock. I hope you will consider coming back again and again and again. Now, the Discord will also let you guys send in stories. Okay, we want to source stories from the community as well. Gardening is saying thank you everyone who joined, who commented, and those who were lurking. We appreciate you all. Please hit that like button and subscribe to both channels. So guys, thank you all so much. We're going to be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until next time, God bless you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.